Hi, I'm Robin, and I want to welcome you to my very first video in Robin's Container Gardens. I just wanted to introduce myself and explain where we are and what we're doing. So we live in Perthshire. I know the voice sounds American, which it is. I've lived here since 2008, so you'll get a little bit of the Scottish twang in there once in a while, but for the most part it is American all the way. I've lived in Scotland since 2008, as I said before, and we live in Perthshire, which is not in the southern part of Scotland, but not in the northern part either, kind of more in the central belt. So our growing season is shorter than it is, say, down in London, even Cumbria, and it's a little bit longer than it is up in the Highlands, for instance. So we do have a nice growing season. We got a lot of harvest last year from our tomatoes and peppers and beans and of course carrots and things like that. But this year I am expanding my container garden because we found that the area where I'm sitting now on the west side of the house is like a little sun trap. So it gets most of the sun in the summer, the spring, even in the autumn, but in the winter we don't get hardly any sun. It's been mild, but it's not been very bright. But anyway, the most of the vegetables that I'm going to be growing this year are going to be around this area, and they're going to be in containers. Now, last year I discovered the sun being so strong around here, so I put in some containers and grew tomatoes, peppers, beans, and I even grew the odd bit of beetroot leaves because we never got beetroots. That's a story for another video. Be growing everything back here with the exception of our beans, peas, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and peanuts, which I'll be growing in a flower bed up front, which you're going to see very shortly because I'm going to take you around there with me. Just wanted to introduce myself and let you know at this point I'm only going to be doing a video every couple of weeks until spring hits and all the jobs start going, and also then after that I'll be doing videos every week. On top of everything else that I do. Ask a busy person, right? When I first started looking at YouTube to get some information about containers, I actually found there was not very much information out there. Once in a while you would have somebody talk about containers, but it was very short and very sweet, and then they kept going on because they had allotments, so they had a huge garden in their where they lived. So I couldn't find a lot of container garden videos. So I'm really looking forward to sharing all this with you, and hopefully you'll get some tips. If you don't have a garden, if you only have space for a few pots, containers outside, if you have a patio or you have a really small garden and you want to maximize your space, you don't want to dig up your lawn for whatever reason, I would encourage you to consider even adding a few containers of food or flowers, or maybe a little of both. What I'm hoping to do today is to show you how that I'm going to replenish some compost that I had in containers last year to put into the ground with some of our own homemade compost and a little bit of fertilizer to kind of give it a little bit of a boost before I start planting things in ground. So let's get started. So what I'm doing now is I'm replenishing some spent soil that was used in containers in our tomatoes and peppers from last year. And I'll dump it in here, get out any kind of rocks or anything that I put in for weight, and then I'll put a little bit of fish blood and bone in to help kind of start breaking that down and getting the nutrition back in the soil. And then I'm going to put a couple of shovelfuls of our own compost that we started last year into the mix. Kind of stir it around a little bit, and then what I'll do is I will take it around the front and I will put that onto our flower bed. I'll just carry on. So that's it done. I have put my container compost, replenished it, because I just can't justify spending money on compost. If I've got compost I can reuse. I've put some slowly release fertilizer in it and some of our own compost from our back garden that we started last year. So I've put that here. It's got leaves mixed up in it and covered over it, and hopefully by the time that I'm ready to plant out here, everything will be in its place. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to stomp on it or anything. It's just going to stay where it is. This is where everything, all the vegetables that are not going in containers are going to be planted here. That's my climbing beans, my dwarf beans, peas, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, peanuts, and some flowers to make it nice. I'm going to put some sweet peas in with my climbing beans as well. But everything else that's vegetable is going to be put in containers around the back. This is as close to a no-dig bed as I'm going to get, because I don't have cardboard underneath there. I've just put everything on top of the existing soil. So that's it, and hopefully everything will grow really nicely in this nice replenished soil that I've just put down, because it's been hard work. Anyway, there you go. Now, because it's so warm outside and I've been working getting that bed up front done, it's a little bit too warm inside to do planting the seeds that I need to plant today. So I'm going to do that out here while I cool off a little bit. So bear with me. I don't need your help, thanks. Birds. They probably know that there's seed about. Probably. I get most of my seeds from Premier Seeds Direct. The reason behind that is it was recommended to me by a friend of mine, and you can get quite a few of their seeds are only 99p, and they charge 89p shipping for how many ever you get. So if you get 100 packets of seeds, you still pay 89p for shipping. And they're actually pretty quick. They get your stuff out to you really fast. And I have found, I used some last year, and I found that their germination rates are very good. If you have seen any photos of my beans on Instagram, you'll notice that I have had almost 100% germination rate on my beans, and they were all purchased from Premier Seeds Direct. And my onions as well. My onions have all been there. They don't have the pretty packet with the pictures and all the cultivation advice, but you can get photographs of what you're planting as well as the cultivation advice on their website. Premier Seeds uses a yellow sticker to tell you when it's organics. So I'll get these inside and I'll get them watered. I'll get the propagators on them and get them all labeled properly. Anyway, until next time, you guys stay safe, take care, bye y'all.